So we're going to go into the cut, and this is one of my favorite parts of this whole thing is that the head is rounded, obviously. You can see it's rounded from here to here. And what I like to do is remove a lot of bulk really quickly by cutting a mohawk section. I'll cut all of the hair right about where these teeth are, and I'm going to try to get the center of this head where I think the finished cut will be, maybe a little bit longer, because I'm going to texturize the ends to get them to blend really well. But by pulling up to here, it's going to leave the bangs a little longer to reach there. We can take care of them later and fine tune them. And the back of the hair system, which I can't even feel, it's crazy how good this fits. It's about right here. So by coming up to here and cutting at this length, removes all of that. But by cutting it at this length, lets it drop pretty long so I can blend it in later. And then the same thing from here to here. The head is curved. So by cutting here, these sides are brought all the way up to here. So when they drop down, they're long enough for me to fine tune later. So let's get rid of 90% of this hair with just a few quick cuts right down the center. So we'll bring this hair right in the center. Pull all the hair from one side, all from the other. I'll turn them towards you before I do the cut so you can kind of see what I'm doing from the front angle. What matters most to me right now is how long would that front or that top center part be. And I think my finished look would be about 3 fingers from the head. So I start cutting off here. Do this from a couple different angles. So then I'll bring that same angle straight up through the front. See, it's right here. Now let's say I wanted to make that front a little bit longer. I could have done a few things. I could have angled up like that. I can drag it further back here, but I'm still kind of going straight across in the front. Maybe it went up just a tiny bit. I was trying to protect those bangs a tiny bit. And then the same thing in the back here. I'm bringing all of this hair system hair up. I'm feeling a little dry, so let's wet it just a little bit. Now, some people, when they're pulling the center section up, find that their fingers will go into that section and cause that side to circle around, whereas this side's going straight to it. It'll make the other side longer. So I've learned over some time that when I'm pulling this section up, to kind of hold it here and not have these fingers restricting the hair there so that I do get a true mohawk section. I say some people because I mean I did that for years and kept wondering why one side was longer than the other, and I had to realize my fingers were deep into that section, and then I just came from the other side and did it again to take away that long hair. But just be aware of that. And now what I like to do next is I always kind of like to go step by step. You notice I'm just kind of misting the outside edges. That's why it keeps drying quickly, because I'm not wetting it all the way down. Now I'm going to focus on pie sections and get my bangs roughly where I'd like to get them. But I have another quick bulk removing technique. What I'm going to do is right in front of where he has hair on the side, right in front of that, pull all of this hair to that section and all of this hair to that same section and cut the bangs about like I think I would like those bangs to be. And what that does is it preserves all of the sides, because I pulled them so far and over directed them that it gives enough length on the side that it goes from this length to longer, 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 so that I can start to blend in that side. And then same thing in the front here. What do I want? I want about this length bang. So I just kind of bring it around in pie-shaped sections, and I'll match right into what I just did on that side. So we'll do the same thing on this side. We'll pull all the hair from the front and the back to the section right here on the skin, not in the hair. And if you're a little nervous about doing a big section like this, just do it a little longer than you think you need. Just pull it out long like this. And if you have to go back and cut a little more, it's fine, but at least you get rid of most of that hair. So we've still left that center just a tiny bit long, so he can still do any kind of styling off to one side, a little pompadour that way, this way, through the center, left part, right part. It all works right now. The thing that's not working just right now are these sides, right? We've got to all the way around, kind of touch that up. So I want to look at this and just see if I were to, let's do it where you can see a little better. If I were to pull out just that side section, you can see his hair is here, and then this goes longer. I want to keep this longer and get it to match more with texturizing shears than anything else. So I'm just going to remove a little bit of bulk through this section, knowing that still at the end here, I'm still about an inch. This is his hair to here, and this is the system, more like 2 inches longer right there. I would rather be a little too long at first and go back and cut more if I need to. So let's do the same thing on this side. Just a little bit out of this whole right part section because it's much longer. Now, maybe a little older guy would have had an older fashioned style where it's a little more layered on the side, a little more feathered, whatever you want to call it, going into something long in the back. Then all of this long hair would have been needed. But he and I talked a little bit about going shorter on his sides, but leaving the hair system long enough to blend longer in between haircuts. So he's trying to get some versatility here, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that with the texturizing shears here in a minute. What I like about texturizing shears is it takes the hair and puts it in so many different lengths that it can blend pretty well today and again in a few weeks as the hair starts to grow out. Because this hair is not going to grow, right? His hair is going to continue to grow, and we need to see what it's going to do. So what I'd like to do is get the hair system hair out of the way for just a minute and take his hair and go kind of short with it, because that's kind of what he wanted. And you'd be surprised at how just a few hits with the texturizing shears will start to really thin that out. Now we'll come back and clipper a good line here, but what I want to do is take just a really thin section of the hair system hair, and I'll go to halfway around here. And I didn't have to do his hair first. I could have did it with the system in a few seconds. Got him a little high here. I'm going to take this hair system hair and at about a 45-degree angle, cut some of the hairs shorter, some medium, some longer as I come around. And it's a very thin section, so it's very forgiving. You can really mess this section up and you've got all his hair above it to fix your mistakes. But the thing that you want to think about here is you want this to be so soft and feather edged no matter what you do above it, that this hair will blend with his hair. Still a little long there, but see the rest of this is starting to kind of disappear and blend right in. I haven't got his hair in the back yet, so just wanted to kind of see the difference if I had done it here but not there. But it looks like I really need to texturize his hair also in the back as well as the side. And then when we line him up with the clippers, it'll make all the difference. Now, we can pull out another couple of sections to start really blending that. and we'll almost be done with the sides. The top is pretty close to done. It needs a little texturizing to look a little more real through those edges, but this side is already starting to blend. Almost no matter how long I leave it, it will blend, but I think we need to do a little bit more fine tuning here by picking this up, and again, 45-degree angle, mid-strand to ends. Makes it a really versatile haircut. He can do so many things with it. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Maybe you get a different angle, seeing what's going on from the back. Get rid of the bangs completely. This time, I'm going to do it a little bit backwards. I'm going to take this little thin section. I wanted it to make be a little easier to see by getting rid of the hair underneath first, but usually what I would do is just comb the whole system over. Then you kind of tell where the long hair is and the short hair and bring out just a thin section here. And while you're thinning that thin section, you also are getting a little bit of the client's hair, so it's okay. So what I'll do here is I want to thin this thin section a lot. It can be in front of the comb, behind the comb, whichever works best for you, all the way till we get into here. Now, yes, I'm picking up a little bit of his hair also, which is fine. But that's the point where I don't want to keep cutting his hair with all of this down. So what I might do is first go ahead and bring his hair down really short. And you know what? It's not necessarily short. What I'm looking at is his hair per square inch on his head is a little on the low density side. It's the reason why he's here. So if I cut his hair really, really short to give him more of that fade look, it shows too much scalp. Whereas if I just shorten some of the hairs, it'll make some hair short, some hairs long, and he'll get more of a fade look, and not a complete fade. I know some of you guys are saying that's not a fade, but more of a fade look with some longer hairs in there so that he can cover the scalp more. And then we'll bring a little bit more hair down all the way around. Doesn't have to be a perfectly neat straight section. It's actually a little bit better if it's a little zigzag and jagged. So again, 45-degree angle, mid-strand to end. That first section I went a little closer to the base of the hair, closer to the root of where it grows out. But now I'm trying to be more mid-strand to end because I don't want any of those short hairs that are going to make it stand up more than I like. So the thing I'm thinking of now is I kind of got this whole side texturized enough, but not much in the bang area. It's looking a little blunt there and through the top and maybe a little off the center. So what I want to do now is in this top section is texturize not mid-strand, but a little closer to 3/4 strand and end. And I'm going to do it all scissor over comb, and not do it as much as I do in the bang because I've done it before, and it'll make those bangs look really, really wispy and soft and the opposite of what he came in here for. So I'm gonna start right in the front and just do the very edges of the front to make it look a little more real without working on those bangs too much. I'd rather go back and do a little bit more, but I always think of the bangs separate than everything else because that's where I've made, and most stylists have made the majority of their mistakes, cutting bangs too short, making them too thin, too much texture. So then through this top section, I can just kind of comb right back through where I was there, and I'm trying to get mid-strand to end because every hair on the head, when your hair is really growing, grows at different rates. So all of these hairs are different lengths, and it looks a lot more real if I start to texturize, which is cutting some hair short, some medium, and just make these ends all different lengths so that it just looks more natural, more like real growing hair. Did it right through the center, and I'm going to do a little off to the side and a little bit of a part section on both sides. I try to hardly ever cut straight across. I don't want any straight lines, even with a texturizing shear on a client's head. I want more of a bunch of different irregularities in the haircut. Some organized chaos here. And then I'm gonna do one more little trick on the very front hairline that I think is very underused, and that is to make that front near his scalp look a little bit more real. So we've got a lot of mist going on, a lot of water, and that front is still down really well. People are surprised at how well that front stays down because I'm not really soaking it right down to the scalp like it might look like. It's more that mid-strand end, and that's why it keeps drying out on me so quickly.